Okay, so you're out there and you wanna know like what's really next level in tech, right? Like you don't have time to dig through like every single review online, but you still want the good stuff.
Yeah.
You want that wow
Yeah,
factor.
absolutely.
So that's what we do here. We take a look at something really interesting and give you the highlights, the stuff that really makes it tick. And today, we are diving into the Razer Blade 16.
The 2025 model?
The 2025 model, yes. This gaming laptop has been getting a lot of attention, and we went through a really comprehensive review of it. And yeah, I'm excited to kind of dig in and see what it's all about.
Me too. Yeah, I think people appreciate that, they don't have time to go through all these long reviews. And so this is kind of the shortcut, the cheat sheet to the most important things they need to know about it.
Yeah, exactly. And the review we looked at really did hit everything. It's how they designed it, how they built it, the kind of power it has under the hood, the display technology, the thermals, and then even just like the overall user experience of what it's like to use this thing every day.
Definitely.
So, let's start at the beginning.
Yeah.
What is this thing like right out of the box? What does it look and feel like?
Well, the reviewer really stressed that this thing is a statement piece. It's not just like a bunch of parts put together. It's like a really high-end piece of technology that looks great. It's designed really well.
Yeah, it sounds like they went for a pretty minimalist aesthetic. It's all black, premium aluminum. So I'm guessing it's got a really nice solid feel to it. Not super flashy, but you definitely know that you're holding something high quality.
Yeah, and the reviewer pointed out that the RGB lighting is pretty subtle. It's Razer chroma lighting, so you can customize it if you want.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not super over the top.
Yeah, I was gonna say because a lot of these gaming laptops, they really go all out with the RGB, and it's nice that they've given you the option to either have it be subtle or you can crank it up if you want.
Right.
But I'm guessing that's also helpful if you want to use this for work as well, that you can kind of tone it down and make it look a little more professional.
Definitely, yeah.
So it's a 16-inch laptop, right?
Right.
That's a pretty good size.
Yeah.
But it sounds like they managed to fit all this high-end tech into a relatively portable design.
Yeah, and the reviewer really emphasized that this is a compact 16-inch form factor. And it really speaks to Razer's ability to pack in, all the top-tier hardware into something that you can actually carry around.
Yeah, because you always kind of have that trade-off with gaming laptops. Either they're super powerful, but they're also super thick and heavy, or they're thin and light, but they don't have the power. And this one sounds like it kind of threads the needle there.
Yeah, definitely.
And the reviewer uses a lot of words to describe the build quality. Impeccable. Tight tolerances, luxurious finish. So it sounds like they really did, take their time and make sure that this thing is well built.
Yeah, it's clear they spent a lot of time on the details and everything. Even something like the keyboard got a lot of attention.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they said that it's a UK layout keyboard
Okay.
with per key RGB lighting.
So you can really go crazy with the customization there.
Yeah, and it offers a really satisfying typing experience. They pointed out the tactile feedback, which is, important for gaming, obviously, but also if you're, typing for a long time doing work, it's got to be comfortable to use.
Right. Yeah, because you're spending hours, with your hands on that keyboard.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it needs to feel good. So it sounds like they really nailed the first impression.
Yeah, definitely.
But now let's get into, what makes this thing tick. Let's talk about performance.
Okay.
The review calls it a powerhouse, built for demanding tasks. That's setting a high bar.
It is. It is. And it's got the components to back it up.
Yeah, let's talk about those.
Okay, so the CPU is an AMD Ryzen AI 9 HX370 processor.
Mm-hmm.
And what's interesting about this is that it's not just about high clock speeds, which you need for gaming. It's also got these AI-driven optimizations that are designed to make everything run more smoothly, whether you're gaming or doing other things.
So it's not just raw power. It's smart. It's using AI to kind of manage resources and make sure that everything is running optimally.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And then the RAM is 32 gigabytes of LPDDR5X RAM, clocked at 8,000 megahertz.
Hmm.
So that's a lot of RAM, and it's super fast.
I mean, those are impressive numbers, but for for someone like me who's not, a hardware expert, what does that actually mean in terms of like how I use the computer every day?
So what that means is that you can have like tons of applications open. You could be, editing video, you could
Mm.
be doing 3D modeling, you can be, running simulations, and it's all going to be super smooth. There's not going to be any lag.
Mm.
It's like having, like a super highway for data inside the computer.
Yeah.
Everything just moves really, really quickly.
So no more, staring at the spinning wheel of death while you wait for things to load.
Right, exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and they really highlighted that this is great for people who are doing a lot of multitasking.
Mm-hmm.
People who are maybe, streaming and playing games at the same time or doing, a bunch of different things at once.
Right.
This can be a huge benefit for them.
Okay, so that's the CPU and the RAM, and that's all, super important for overall performance. But I think for a lot of people, when they think about a gaming laptop, the first thing they think about is the graphics card.
Of course, yeah.
And this one has the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 5090, and the reviewer called it the real star of the show. So this is top of the line.
Yeah, this is the best of the best. And they specifically called out the ray tracing capabilities.
Oh yeah, I've been hearing about ray tracing for a while now. That's like the next big thing in graphics, right?
It is. It's a way of simulating how light works in the real world. So you get these incredibly realistic lighting effects and reflections.
So it's not just, the objects look more realistic, but the way that light interacts with them is also more realistic.
Yeah, exactly. And it makes games look so much more immersive and believable.
And how does the 5090 handle all that?
They said it delivers extraordinary performance even in the most demanding games. When you've got all the settings cranked up to the max, it's still able to keep up.
So no frame rate drops, no stuttering.
Right. They specifically said that it has consistent high frame rates,
Hmm.
which is what you want, especially
Yeah.
if you're playing competitive games.
Absolutely.
But it's not just for gamers. They also said that content creators who are doing things like 3D rendering are going to love this card
Yeah.
because it can handle those really demanding tasks.
Yeah, so this is a machine that can really be used for work and for play.
Definitely.
So it sounds like it's got the power to run anything you throw at it. But let's talk about the display.
Okay.
Because that's how we're actually experiencing, all these amazing graphics. And this one has a 16-inch QHD plus OLED display with a 240 hertz refresh rate. And the reviewer called it a visual masterpiece. So I'm guessing this is a pretty special screen.
Yeah, so QHD plus means that you've got a really high resolution, so everything's going to be super sharp and detailed.
Mm.
And OLED technology is known for having, incredibly vibrant colors and really deep blacks because each pixel can turn on and off individually.
So it's not just about, having a lot of pixels. It's also about the quality of those pixels.
Right, and having that 240 hertz refresh rate
Yeah.
is huge for gaming because it means that the image is updating super quickly.
So there's no motion blur, no ghosting. Everything is just super smooth.
Yeah, exactly. And they even said that this combination of, QHD plus OLED and 240 hertz is pretty rare in a gaming laptop.
Wow.
So it's definitely a premium feature.
Yeah, so you're really getting the best of the best here.
Yeah. And they also mentioned that it has some AI enhanced capabilities.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's not just a static display. It's actually using AI to optimize the image quality.
Right. So it can, adjust the brightness and contrast in real time based on what you're looking at.
So whether you're gaming or you're watching a movie or you're editing photos, it's always going to look its best.
Exactly.
That's pretty impressive. Okay, so we've got all this power, we've got this amazing display, but one thing I always think about with gaming laptops is heat.
Yeah.
Because you've got all these components, working really hard. They're generating a lot of heat.
Mm-hmm.
How does the Blade 16 keep things cool?
So Razer has developed this advanced cooling system for it.
Okay.
It uses a dual fan system and a vapor chamber.
Oh, wow.
And vapor chambers are really good at moving heat away from the CPU and the GPU.
So they're more efficient than just using, traditional heat sinks and fans.
Yeah, exactly. And they make a big difference in keeping the laptop running at optimal temperatures.
And the reviewer mentioned that even under heavy load, the fan noise is pretty minimal.
Yeah, they were impressed with the noise management. They said it's not too loud, which is great for streamers
Mm-hmm.
who need to have clear audio.
Right.
or for people who are just working in a quiet environment.
So they've managed to strike a balance between, keeping things cool and not making it sound like a jet engine.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about the design, the performance, the display, the thermals.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's talk about practicality. Let's talk about battery life, because that's always a big question mark with gaming laptops.
It is. And the reviewer acknowledged that, you're not going to get all-day battery life with a machine like this.
Right.
But they were surprised by how long it actually lasted.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they said that for, casual use like browsing the web or checking email or even, light gaming, you can actually get a decent amount of time out of it.
Okay.
But if you're going to be doing, really demanding gaming, you're going to want to have it plugged in.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's not going to replace your everyday laptop, but it's nice to know that you can, take it with you and not be tethered to an outlet for at least a few hours.
Right. And the reviewer also pointed out that the sleek design and the robust build make it a good travel companion.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely more portable than some of the other gaming laptops out there. So I could see myself taking this on a trip or, to a coffee shop or something.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so let's talk about connectivity. What kind of ports does it have?
So it's got a pretty good selection of ports.
Mm-hmm.
It has multiple USB-A ports,
Okay.
which is good for, legacy devices.
Mm-hmm.
It's got USB-C ports,
Okay.
and it's got Thunderbolt connectivity.
Ah, so you can connect, external displays and high-speed peripherals.
Yeah, and it also has an HDMI 2.1 port.
Nice.
So you can connect it to a big screen TV or a high refresh rate monitor if you want.
And for online gaming, I'm assuming it has, the latest Wi-Fi standards?
It does. It's got Wi-Fi 6E, I believe.
Okay.
And the reviewer stressed that that's essential for online gaming.
Yeah, you don't want to be, lagging in the middle of a match.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about the design, the performance, the display, the thermals, the battery life, the connectivity.
Mm-hmm.
But let's not forget about audio, because audio is a huge part of the gaming experience.
Really?
And just the overall, media consumption experience.
Yeah, and they said that the Blade 16 has really good audio. It's got high fidelity speakers.
Okay.
That are enhanced by Razer's audio technologies.
So they're not just, basic laptop speakers. They put some thought into this.
Yeah, they said that the sound is rich and dynamic, and it's good for music, for gaming, for video calls.
So it's a well-rounded audio experience.
Yeah.
And what about software?
Okay, so Razer has this software suite that comes with the laptop,
Mm-hmm.
and it's designed to be really intuitive and easy to use.
Okay.
And it gives you a lot of control over the laptop.
Like what kind of control?
So you can adjust the performance settings, you can customize the RGB lighting.
Hmm?
You can even adjust the fan profiles.
Oh, wow.
So you can really fine-tune the laptop to your liking.
So it's very customizable.
Yeah.
That's nice. Okay, so let's bring it back to gaming, because at the end of the day, this is a gaming laptop, and the reviewer said that for gamers, this thing is a revelation. That's a pretty strong statement.
It is. And
Yes.
and it really seems like they hit it out of the park with this one. The combination of the RTX 5090 and the Ryzen AI 9 HX 370,
Mm-hmm.
it's just a powerhouse. And they said that the ray tracing is so realistic that it blurs the line between, digital graphics and real life.
Wow. So we're talking, photorealistic graphics here.
Yeah, it's getting close. And
Yeah.
the frame rates are super high, even in the most demanding games.
Yeah, because that's crucial for competitive gaming.
Definitely. You need to have those high frame rates to stay competitive.
And they said that the display, with the 240 hertz refresh rate, really makes a difference there.
It does. It just makes everything feel so much more responsive and fluid.
Yeah. And the keyboard is also optimized for gaming, right?
Yeah, they said it's very responsive.
Okay.
And the per key RGB lighting, adds to that immersive gaming
No,
experience.
it's not just about the visuals. It's also about the feel of the keyboard and the whole atmosphere.
Yeah.
But this isn't just a gaming laptop, right?
Right. Yeah.
The reviewer also talked about its capabilities for creative professionals.
They did. They said that the display is great for photo editing and video editing and graphic design.
Because it's got that high resolution and the color accuracy.
Exactly. And the 32 gigabytes of RAM and the fast SSD really help with those demanding creative applications.
So you can edit, 4K video
Yeah.
or work on, huge Photoshop files without any lag.
Right. And the Ryzen AI processor also has some AI features that can help with things like real-time rendering and data analysis.
So it's really a versatile machine. You can game on it. You can do creative work on it.
Yeah, it's kind of bridging the gap between those two worlds.
So to wrap things up, what's the overall takeaway from this review? What should people know about the Razer Blade 16?
Well, they said that it's a masterclass in modern laptop design and engineering. Combines high-end gaming performance with a sleek, portable design. And they really emphasize that the components are all top of the line. The Ryzen AI processor, the RTX 5090, the OLED display.
And they all work together really well.
Yeah, they said it delivers a superior user experience.
And it's not just about the specs, it's also about the details, the cooling system, the battery life, the connectivity.
Yeah, they were impressed with all of that. And they said that it's a great option for both gamers and creative professionals.
So it's a machine that can really do it all.
Yeah. And their final assessment was that it's a perfect marriage of form and function.
So if you're looking for a high-end laptop that can handle anything you throw at it, the Razer Blade 16 is definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, I think so.
So for you listening out there, what really stood out to you about this deep dive? Was it the incredible display technology? Was it the sheer power of the components? Or was it the fact that it can be used for both gaming and creative work?
Yeah, and I'd like you to think about, as we see more AI being integrated into hardware like this, how is that going to change the way we use computers in the future? What new possibilities are going to open up? What are we going to be able to do that we can't even imagine right now?
That's a great question, and it's one that I think we're going to be exploring a lot more in the years to come.
Definitely.
Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the Razer Blade 16.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
We hope you found it informative and maybe even a little bit inspiring.
Yeah, and if you're interested in learning more about any of the topics we discussed today, be sure to check out the links in the show notes.
And until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Definitely.
We'll see you in the next deep dive.
See you then.